Good morning, boys and girls. It's so good to see you today. This is Friday, April 3rd. We're on Fido Day 15. We're going to pick up a little bit where we left off yesterday. We're going to be on page 691, and we're going to be looking at numbers 7, 11, 12, and 13. But before we look at those, I wanted to go back and look at what we did yesterday, because one of the things that the book had asked us to do was to estimate some of these. And I think when we're doing these, the most difficult ones, which these are, it's always a good idea to go back and try to estimate and see if our answer is close to our estimate. So today I'm going to use this green marker to do estimates on a few of these. That way we can check to see if our actual answer makes sense. So sometimes it's not enough that your teacher just told you this is correct. Sometimes we actually need to make sure that our answers make sense. So looking at number 2, we did this yesterday together. Let's estimate. So 4 and 3/8. Well, 3/8 is less than half. So I'm going to estimate that 4 and 3/8 is just like 4. And 1 and 5/8. 5/8 is over half. So I'm going to estimate that out to be a 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 and 3/4 is very close to an estimate of 2. On number 3, 3 and 1/6. Well, 1/6 is less than half, so I'm going to leave that a 3. And 1 and 1/3 is less than 1/3 is less than a half, so I'm going to leave that 1. 3 minus 1 is 2, and my answers right here that we did yesterday, that was 1 and 5/6. So 1 and 5/6 is very close to 2. I feel good about that one. And on number 4, 5 and 1/4 is 5, because 1/4 is less than half. 4 and 1/2, that's exactly 4 and a half. So when it's exactly 1/2, we round up. So 4 and 1/2, we round up to 5. We get an answer of 0. Our actual answer that we got yesterday was 3/4, so I feel really good about that one. We're going to estimate one more. Let's jump down to number 8, just because this gets very busy in here. But if we go to number 8, I don't have a whole lot of work jamming up the airways there. So let's look at number 8, 7 and 2/7. 2/7 is less than half, so I would say that's just 7. 6 and 4/7. 4/7 is greater than 1/2, so I'm going to say that's about equal to 7. 7 minus 7 is 0, and you can see as our answer we only got 5/7. So that's very, very close to being nothing. Okay? Today we're going to talk in our note packet about this question that's down here. This is the last page before we go into chapter 10. So if you find where if you're turning, you turn 1, 2, and then it's at the bottom of the 3rd full page. There's a question. If you need to find that in your notes, go ahead and do that now. Feel free to pause it. Okay, so the question says here, how do I turn a whole number into an improper fraction? Sometimes you'll have a whole number that you're going to subtract with a mixed number. And you might have been wondering, how would I do that? You might have even seen it on the ones that we skipped yesterday, like number 6. The whole number 4 minus 1 and 1/8. And on number 7, the whole number 12 minus 5 and 1/6. See that there? And you might have wondered, how do I turn the whole number into an improper fraction? And you want to know something? It's not that difficult. It's a pretty simple idea. If you want to turn a whole number into an improper fraction, you write the whole number as your numerator and you write 1 as the denominator. So a whole number like 3 in the example, you put the 3 on top and a 1 on the bottom. And it makes perfect sense because if we were going to set this up in a division problem, 3 is on the top bunk, it runs inside, 1 stays outside. How many 1s go into 3? 3, with nothing left over. So it makes perfect sense that you would just put the whole number over 1. Same thing here on this example. If it's 8, you put the 8 over 1. And now it's an improper fraction. It's improper because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. But now we can use that if we're going to add or subtract a mixed number or a fraction from a whole number. So let's take a look at number 6. On number 6, we've got 4. I'm going to write that as an improper fraction. It's 4 over 1. And we're going to change 1 and 1/8 to an improper fraction. Remember, it's denominator times whole number. So 8 times 1 is 1, plus 1 more makes it 9. So we're going to do 4 over 1 minus 9 over 8. The denominator in 4 over 1 is 1. The denominator in 9 over 8 is 8. We can't subtract them like this. Let's change the 1 to an 8. We do that by multiplying by 8. If I multiply the bottom number by 8, I've got to multiply the top number by 8. So 4 times 8 is 32. So 4 over 1 becomes 32 over 8. But remember, that's still equal to 4 because there's 4 8s and 32. Let's bring over our 9 8s. 32 minus 9 is 23. 8 is our denominator. We leave that an 8. Covering up some of this other work so that you can focus in on the one that I'm looking at. Now we need to set this up as a division problem. 23 goes in, 8 has to stay out. How many 8s go into 23? 2. That's 16. Let's subtract. 7's our remainder. 7 goes on top. The divisor goes on the bottom. 2 and 7/8. I'm going to do a real quick estimate here. See if we can find some empty room. 4 is just going to stay 4. 1 and 1/8. 1/8 is less than half. So I'm just going to estimate this as 4 minus 1, which is 3. 2 and 7/8. 2 and 7/8 is very, very close to my estimate of 3. So I feel really good about that. Let's look at number 7. We're going to put 12 over 1. We're going to change 5 and 1/6 to an improper fraction. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 1 is 31 over 6. The denominator in 12 over 1 is 1. The denominator in 31 over 6 is 6. We need to force these to be the same. If I multiply the 1 in 12 over 1 times 6, it becomes 6. If I multiply the bottom by 6, I've got to multiply the top by 6 to make it 72. I'm going to drag over 31 over 6. Here we go. 72 minus 31 is 42. No, it's not. Sorry, guys. It's 41. 41/6. Let's write this as an mixed number. 41 goes in, 6 stays out. How many 6s are in 41? 6. That's 36. So our remainder is 5 over our 6. So the answer up here is 6 and 5/6. Let me grab my green marker and do a real quick estimate. 12 stays 12. 5 and 1/6. 1/6 is under a half. So I'm going to leave 5 just as a 5. 12 minus 5 is 7. 7 is very close to 6 and 5/6. I'm really excited to be going down to the bottom row because lots of room down there. Lots and lots of room down there. See it there? Oh, wide open spaces, right? Isn't that nice? There's a little bit over here, but that's okay. Here we go. I'm going to cover up everything so we can just focus on these three. If you want to pause it right now and try numbers 11, 12, and 13 on your own, feel free to do that. If you want to do it along with me, you can. That's your choice. Okay? If you're going to pause it, though, go ahead and pause. And then come back when you've got them done and you can check over them with me. Number 11, I'm going to, right here on number 11, I'm going to put that 18 over 1. See how I did that? Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. And then over here, I'm going to change 9 1/4 to an improper fraction. 4 times 9, 36, plus 1 is 37 over 4. Denominators are different. So I'm going to change this 1 on the bottom to 4 by multiplying by 4. If I multiply this 1 by 4, I've got to multiply that 18 by 4. And 18 times 4, you might have to do the scratch work over here, but I do know that one. It's 72. 72 minus 31 is 41. Denominator stays the same as 4. Let's set up our division house. 41 goes in, 4 has to stay out. 4 goes into 41 10 times, that's 40. 41 minus 40 is 1 remainder. The 1 remainder goes on top. The 4 that is the divisor goes on the bottom. 10 1/4. I'm going to do a real quick estimate here. 18 is just going to stay 18. 9 1/4. 1/4 is less than half, so I'm going to leave that a 9. 18 minus 9 is 9. 10 1/4 is not too far away from, it's not too far away from 9. So I feel good about that answer. Questions? Anybody have questions? All right, let's move on. Number 13, I'm sorry, number 12, 13 over 1. Write 4 1/3 as an improper fraction. Before we do that, I have to go back. I made a mistake here, boys and girls. Oh my estimate's still okay, but that really bothered me that this was 9 and this was 10. So I came back here and 4 times 9 is 36 plus 1. This should have been 37, Mrs. Steve. 37. Hey, you knew there was a mistake coming somewhere, didn't you? So let me erase my work. I'm glad I did this one in pen or pencil. There we go. So I need to write these up and down. I cannot regroup side to side like that. All right, 35/4. Thank you. I'm sorry if you erased all of your stuff, or I'm sorry if you have to erase. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You see me here being sorry. Okay, here we go. 35 goes in, 4 stays out. How many 4s are in 35? 8. That's 32. I get a remainder of 3. 3 goes on top, 4 goes on the bottom. Oh, that's so much closer to our estimate. I feel way more confident now. I feel super confident. So I'm going to come back up here and change where I recorded the wrong answer and put down the right. All right, I feel much better about number 11. Let's look at number 12. I am going to make the denominator, I already put the 13 over 1. I'm going to change 4 1/3 to an improper fraction. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13 over 3. Different denominators. I'm going to force the 1 in the first improper fraction to become a 3. And I'm going to do that by multiplying it times 3. If I do times 3 on the bottom, I got to do times 3 up top. 13 times 3 is 39. 39 take away 13 is 26 over 3. Let's set up our division house. How many 3's go into 26? 8. That's 24. 2 left over. The 2 leftovers go on top. The 3 stays on the bottom. 8 and 2/3. Let's do a quick estimate. 13 stays itself. 4 and 1/3. 1/3 is less than 1/2, so it just stays 4. 13 minus 4 is 9. 8 and 2/3 is very close to 9, so I feel good about that one. I don't think I messed that one up. If I did, email me if I messed up number 12. Now, number 13, you'll see there's no whole number. So what are we going to do? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make these denominators the same. I can turn this 2 in 1 1/2 to a 4 if I multiply by 2. If I multiply the bottom by 2, I got to multiply the top by 2. So really, to get these to be like fractions, we have to change 1/2 to 2/4. However, we can't do 1/4 minus 2/4. So we're going to change them both into improper fractions. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 plus 1 is 21. Leave 4 on the bottom. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. 6 over 4. Subtract, I get 15/4. Let's divide. 15 goes in, 4 stays out. 4 goes into 15 3 times. That's 12. A remainder of 3 over 4. 3 3/4. Going to do a quick estimate. 5 and 1/4 stays 5 because 1/4 is less than half. 1 and 1/2, 1/2 is equal to 1/2, so that rounds up to 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 is very close to 3 3/4. I feel good about that answer. Man, my work is jumbled up, but I got my answers all circled on this page, so I feel pretty good about that. You should too if you're, doing a lot of this. And if you've got a traffic jam going on. You can always use a spare piece of paper as well. So today and yesterday you learned how to subtract fractions with regrouping. And the way that you regroup them is you put them into improper fractions. And you also learned that if you have a whole number, you can easily turn it into an improper fraction by making the denominator 1 and the whole number your numerator. For me, I need you to work on page 692. I'm sorry, 694. It looks like this. There's 4 questions. All of them you're going to need to rewrite your mixed numbers into improper fractions so that you can subtract correctly. It's numbers 4, 5, 6, and 7. Please take your time. And on number 7, notice that he buys some, which means that he adds this to the amount that he already had. So you're going to be adding 2 1/6. And then he uses some. So that's where you're going to subtract. So in this one, if we were going to write it out as an expression, we would do the 6 1/3 that he had plus the 2 1/6 he buys, get that sum, and then subtract the whole thing by 6 5/6. And when you go to subtract, oh, sorry, you can't even see that. Oh, my goodness, I'm so sorry. When you go to subtract on number 7, I am betting that you're going to have to change both the sum after you add this and the 6 5/6. You're going to have to change both of those into improper fractions. So number 7's a pretty involved question. If you have any trouble, email me, amanda.steef@westernbeaver.org. When you finish page 694, which is numbers 4, 5, 6, and 7, when you finish them, take a picture of it and email me that too. I miss you guys. and we'll talk again very soon. Take care of yourselves.